BBB is back for the 24-25 season, and we have a new format, Fara Meet, and I'm here with two England stars, Beth Mead and Lauren James. Let's start by kicking off. We're going to talk about the growth of the women's game. Since obviously winning the Euros, I've certainly from the outside in noticed a culture shift in terms of the respect level now on the women's game. Do you think it's purely down to the fact that the Lionesses won the Euros, or do you think obviously with brands kind of showcasing news and broadcasters showing it more on TV, there's that level of respect change because of that? What do you think the main kind of thing is that's changed that?
I think obviously it being in England helped.
It didn't help me in 2005, you know. We got knocked out of the group stages.
Yeah, maybe that definitely didn't help. Yeah, I think it being in England, like at the time, obviously being part of the team, like we didn't actually realise how much of a buzz was around us because we kind of kept ourselves in a bubble, but coming out of it and feeling the respect and everyone talking about it and the women's game and how enjoyable it was to watch and be a part of, and back an England team that ended up going all the way for the first time in a long time. I think the worry was, would it only happen for a few months and then people die off from it a little bit again? But I think, like you said, Arsenal fans and us selling out the stadium and the club backing us to play there more regularly to keep it the exposure there, and most games being on TV now, or they're being swapped on to TV for scheduling, which they're trying to adapt to, like the men and the women's game both getting the rights to TV and stuff has been quite important, but hopefully it's still heading in the right direction.
And obviously that Euro one would have obviously, I think, fast-tracked the game a little bit too much, and kind of now we have to kind of level out and see, you know, some of the things that need improving as well as keeping what's there. But you talk WSL, LJ, Chelsea's without Emma Hayes, who has had a huge impact, I guess, on your career when you signed there. How important was she for you when you went back there? Because obviously you went there from Man United. Look at me saying Everton. From Man United. Yeah. I'm thinking of my own team. From Man United, and obviously you went there with an injury as well. So how important was she in kind of getting you to understand the injury? Because I know that we all played when we had injuries. We want to play on our injuries and probably didn't manage them. How much of an impact did she have on you understanding your body a little bit more, and then obviously flourishing the way you have under her?
It's huge. I think Emma's Emma, and she's got something about her where she knows how to manage personalities and players. And I think when I came in and when I recovered from my injury, it's always like, I want to play. I think everyone's like that. Or like, I want to start, why am I not starting? But no, she kept me, her main focus was just to keep me on the grass for that year, which she did. And then I knew the next season, if I had a good pre-season, because I hadn't had one for years, then I could hopefully make my way into the team. And luckily I did that.
They weren't lucky.
Had an alright season. But yeah, no, she played a massive role. She kept me on the grass and she showed me faith and had confidence in me. And she always allowed me to be myself, which I always believe that's the best, how to get the best out of me.
Obviously with those tools she's given you, right, you talk about, we all know as individuals it's quite hard when you get a manager that kind of don't understand you as a person, and then that impacts whether they play you and kind of how you are within the team. So she's given you a lot of tools. You obviously understand injuries a lot better now. I remember talking to you back in that summer when these were winning the Euros, about your frustration, about wanting to play, but understanding that injuries, you know, and how you manage that is more important. All of those tools she's given you. New manager, Sonia Bompastor, how do you say it? Help me.
Yeah, go on.
Bompastor?
I'll just say Sonia.
Oh, Sonia, there you go. So now you've got a new manager. One, how has it been under her? But two, do you feel better equipped if you are injured, if you are feeling a certain way, to kind of have those conversations with her so that you're right to play rather than kind of hiding those things?
Yeah, for sure. I think now I know, I'm starting to know my body, so I know how to talk to Sonia. I don't know if I need an extra day or if I'm starting to feel something. And yeah, I think just being able to speak confidently to a manager. I know sometimes it's like,
It's not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, I still didn't do it when I finished at 37, so it's not easy.
But yeah, she gave me those tools to help, and yeah, now Sonia's taken over, so hopefully she can achieve great things with Chelsea as well.
Don't give too much away for us, Chelsea. We don't want to let these Arsenal people kind of... But has it been enjoyable with a new... Is it refreshing?
Yeah,
is it like
it's a change. There's new players as well, new staff. It's a fresh start. It's exciting.
You think Chelsea and Arsenal, and for me, Arsenal were the team growing up that kind of dominated the women's game. And then in recent years, we know Emma Hayes and Chelsea have kind of taken that a little bit. But when it comes to off the field, in terms of growing the game and fan base, etc., selling out the Emirates back to back, I think there was an average of like 48,000 for fans, and then you've announced that you'll be there for all your home games this season. Is that right? Or majority eight of them. Yeah. How important is it that Arsenal kind of set the trend for the women's game with those type of things, and how, as a player, important do you think it is?
You'll know, like, playing at the club, it's a special club. They aren't just saying it, they're doing it, which is always nice. So they're not saying they're doing something and you're waiting forever for it to happen. But I think by us leading by example and the club pushing forward and getting us games, obviously, regularly at the Emirates and stuff like that, helps other clubs then have to push with us, which then is only going to improve the game further. So it's... yeah, the fans and the club in itself, obviously over last few years, has been pretty incredible. Like, getting the chance to play out against Chelsea at a sold-out Emirates, like, it's pretty cool, even for probably you guys playing in it against us. Like, the atmosphere, and that's just, it's different to what it used to be. But the club have worked hard and they've really pushed for that, and now we're getting the rewards from it. But it obviously took a lot to get it to that point. But yeah, we're in a good place. Now we've got to compete against these guys for this season now. You
do, but you say that. Would you like Stamford Bridge? Would you like that to be your home ground? Look, Kings Meadow's been a fortress in terms of teams going there and how you dominate. But would you like to be more regular at Stamford Bridge, selling it out? We see Chelsea women's fans kind of struggling in terms of when they do play there to try and get that sold out. Is that something as a player that you would want in the future?
If it can be sold out, like, the more the better, but I'd rather play at Kings Meadow and it's sold out there. Yeah.
I have this argument, I had this argument, and obviously he does the podcast like me, and we had this conversation. I was like, he's never had to walk out in front of a half empty, Old Trafford. I said I'd much rather play in a fully packed Kings Meadow, whatever, 5,000, than play at Stamford Bridge with 18,000 and it just look empty. So I'm with you on that, but
it sounds louder as well.
It's better, right?
Compact, yeah.
Sure.
Just on the fan stuff, because you mentioned how important the fans are, and we've seen Chelsea ladies have kind of, for this season going forward, the signing of and photo taking, is it before and after games? It's kind of been... just after games.
Minutes, yeah.
But how important is that for that control of players? Because obviously, look, we know, especially when I played, it was something we was trying to grow the fan base, so you give them all of your time to the point that you're given so much, it's expected now. But also there's a balance of, we're professional footballers and we kind of have to, our job is to play and not give all that time. Do you think it's a good thing they've put this in place?
Yeah, I think it also shows that the game's growing. Like, you don't see men's footballers stand there for 45 minutes after a game signing. So it just shows that it's going in the right direction, because, yeah, we are professional players and we can't give all our time. Yeah, you can give some, but not that you're leaving the stadium like an hour and 15 minutes after the game's finished.
No, I mean, how do you feel in terms of, because I heard Jonas come out and he kind of didn't really answer that question after he'd heard Chelsea are doing it. What's your take on it?
It's difficult. I think obviously now we're playing at the Emirates, like, it's impossible. I think after one game I stayed back for 90 minutes and I was like, people still were annoyed that I hadn't got around enough of them, and I'm like, this isn't feasible anymore to do. And I think us as footballers, like, we appreciate the fans so much. We know the games aren't anything without them. Like, it's not us saying that, but now it's not possible to see every person, or there's an expectation still, and that's the hardest part. Like, people 5 minutes before the end of the game are stood right next to the barriers and they're shouting for, I don't know, shirt or your boots, and I'd love to give them everything that I had, but it's not possible. Like, I need it I need my boots for the next game. Like, I don't just wear a new pair every game. Like, it's not how I am.
No, I'm with you. I'm like, it's difficult, isn't it?
It is so hard, but like, I don't think it's a bad thing. Them guys just putting that out there, and that's people know that's the standard now of where the game is. And
I kind of feel like the WSL in terms of that have to kind of look at that and follow in a way, or certainly put something in place where, you know, if it is, I know Man City, they kind of have that walk, don't they, that they do like a 15-minute signing. But yeah, I think since you lot winning the Euros, that did become a little bit out of control in terms of you can't even get out of the stadiums, and you still get criticised. Well. But the thing is, no matter how much you give, and whether it be time, whether it be your boot shirt, whatever, you're still going to get somebody that ain't happy with it. So you can't please everybody. But how competitive is the Super League now, say to 5 years ago?
I mean, it's going to be difficult. I think when you look at teams that were the lower teams, they've now got the quality and experience of international players in the team that no game's an easy game anymore. Like, we talk about Chelsea, City, Arsenal's, United, Tottenham's and Brighton's and teams like that are just as tough to play now. They're different types of teams, but that's why I think winning the league now is becoming more like important, because it's tougher to win a league.
Those teams are more competitive, so the league obviously is more competitive. But in terms of that breakthrough then, Lauren, that breaking into that top three, we did see Man United do it for one season, kind of drop off. Do you think it's that competitive that any one team outside of that can break into that top three? Or you still think that the three of Chelsea, Arsenal, Manchester City are kind of, in terms of the investment and money and players that they have, you think people can break into it? Because from the outside looking in, I'm like, I can't see a team that's going to break into that. I look at the squads, I look at the players, I look at the investment, and I'm still like, I feel like that top three are really kind of...
We've had probably more years of being like that. I think them top three know how to be up there.
Yeah.
Whereas the other teams don't.
They're just like starting up with that.
So I don't know if I could, like you said, say, oh, this team's going to break through this year, but...
They'll be hard though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
There's different ways of playing against them now, and it's tougher than it used to be. It's not just a part-time team try to play in a block and try and stay fit enough to get through a game. Like, they're all full-time.
Before, it's like you could chuck in some of your younger ones to get minutes, but it's like you can't even do that now.
Euro 2025, Serena Wiegman, what's your chances going into the Euros with Serena for a third time? She'd be the only manager to do it 3 times on the bounce.
I mean, it's not a bad stat for her, is it? I think we're in good hands. I mean, it's exciting, obviously, going into it, but again, it's a different Euros again. These teams again have improved. Like, even the qualifying was ridiculous to get into it. The Euros itself, like playing France, Sweden's, Republic of Ireland's weren't an easy game. Like, it's exciting to look forward to it. I think we've got a very, very good chance, but hopefully all the girls are flying this season and we're in a good place going into next year.
In terms of Serena, because obviously from my outside looking in, I'm like, oh man, I wish I was still playing to kind of play under her, see her style of coaching. How different is she compared to an Emma Hayes or a Jonas in terms of her coaching style or management style? What's so different about her?
She's played, like, she understands it. Like, she's played over 100 times for Netherlands or something. Like, she gets international football, whereas some managers, you like even the freedom side, like, she'll be like, oh, have your Saturday off, I'll see you at this time and want you to be, and if we break that, we lose that freedom.
Trust,
but she gives us that, and so far we've not given her a chance to take that away from us. So
I think Serena adapts to the players she has. So at the time I was kind of an inverted winger, like I'd always come in, and then when I played for England, Serena obviously allowed me to do that as well. It wasn't like you're a winger, you got to stay out wide. But yeah, I think she adapts to the players she selects, which is obviously good because it suits people's strengths.
They sort a lot of stuff out for us, which we're very lucky for now. Like, even like a coffee van coming in every day just to...
Not a spoil boy.
Literally. But like, just normality in camp.
Not that
do you know what I mean?
coffee.
Can't feel it. I'll have one of them. Obviously, I love the tactical side of the game. Like when you're setting up against different opposition. How intense is she with that? And how open is she to kind of like you lot saying something different to kind of what they're thinking?
Serena has her way, like, and standards, and I wouldn't say she throws that much tactics at us all the time, but like she set that early on in the culture of how she wants us to play and how we adapt to little bits of playing against different teams. But it's weird with her. You just know what your role is and your do's and don'ts when you play for her.
Do's and don'ts.
Literally, like she's going to be annoyed at you for. Or
give me a don't.
don't come and get the ball for the centre back.
Yeah, literally. Don't drop too far and become a third centre back.
Yeah, I like that. So grassroots for me is something that certainly is important in terms of bringing players through. I've always, when I played, some of you know, coached some of the young girls. And how important then is McDonald's? Obviously you talk about free access, that accessibility, because we obviously know how expensive now sessions can be for some kids. How important is it their investment to obviously give that opportunity? If you think about opportunities into the game, without free sessions like McDonald's Fun Football are putting on, how do you think the game, or where do you think the game would be without that? I
think from when we were younger, and yourself, I think we've probably missed out on a lot of very good footballers within the game. I know I struggled to get into like any grassroots football. I obviously joined a boys team, which I'm pretty sure most of us did, which was still an hour down the road. It wasn't close, it wasn't easy to get to for my mum and dad to take me. So obviously for us to be able to make a pathway and a grassroots facility more accessible and free, local to where they're actually living. So if I had something 20 minutes away, some girls maybe that live near me would maybe have had the opportunity to pursue trying to be a footballer a little bit easier. Not everybody had the support to be able to do what I did. Obviously I was lucky in that instance, but I think it's nice, and I know myself being part of this and thinking if I had that growing up that I'd be pretty buzzing with knowing that I could go somewhere where, like Lauren said, different backgrounds, different diversity. You felt safe and to go there, and it was fun and it was easy, and you had proper coaches there. It wasn't just someone volunteering just to help out. Hopefully it's going to go a long way in the development to try and find, diamonds in the rough that might not have got the chance if that wasn't there. Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned there, in terms of diversity, it's obviously something that is missing a little bit within the game. I know when I came through the game, in terms of that diversity within the game, it was quite high. There was opportunities for inner city teams or players to kind of get involved in tournaments or whatever it might have been, and access for that was a lot easier than when I look at the game now, in terms of when I look at it and visually look, in terms of that diversity. And LJ, you've started your, or LJ10 is it, scholarship program. How important is that to you in terms of giving, I read some of it, giving people, that don't have the same sort of opportunities or support that you had growing up? How important is it that you give back and try and get them involved in areas that they probably wouldn't be able to without support of these scholarships or certain programs?
I think massive, because it could be a girl missing out on an opportunity. Like, she could be a massive talent, but without the help and support, like, it's to help support them get to training or cover the training they need. But yeah, they've all got potential that I'm there to help them. Is it like a program that they go to of yours, or is it they're already within a team, for example, and you're actually helping fund and facilitate them so they can go and obviously pay for some of these local teams? They're already within teams, so it's just helping them from the outside. And whose idea was it? Mine. Like it? No, I really like that, because look, I'm somebody that coaches, and I find it difficult myself when I am coaching, that you do have to charge people for obviously your time. But obviously when you think of grassroots, if when I was a kid I had to pay what the going rate is now, I probably wouldn't have had the same opportunities. So, I mean, there's obviously an age gap between the three of us in terms of barriers that were there. So were there any barriers for either of you coming through grassroots? Yes, no, and if there weren't, what support did you have that helped you kind of get through them? I think it was just the stigma of it being a men's game when I was growing up, or a boys' game. I obviously went into a boys' team, that's all I knew. In my local village I used to play football with the boys after school. So that became the norm for me, I guess, to a certain extent. But obviously every game I went out and played, when I went to competitive league in Middlesbrough where I played, I was getting abused every game. Shouldn't be playing, she's a girl. I think after the end of every game we got a bit more respect than the start of the game from parents and from some of the boys. But
I'd like to think that little bit of stigma's changed a little bit now in consideration to then. Like, young girls are looking and being like, do you know what, I can be a professional. I went to university because I didn't know if it would be professional when I got a chance to get to that level. Obviously, my last year of uni, I went full-time professional at Sunderland, but for these young girls now, they have the motivation to know that they can be a professional athlete, but it's now becoming more competitive and there's more support that it's now becoming difficult on a different level. So it's not because of boys, girls, this, that and the other, but it's actually, are you good enough to make it through, or are you finding the right place to go to make yourself better, or good enough to compete at obviously the level that it's at now, the game. So I guess there's new challenges being put in compared to probably when we were a little bit younger.
Yeah. LJ, you
I do actually think with there being boys teams though, when we was younger, it did us good.
No, I think it did help us. It helped you develop.
Yeah.
It did.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Skill level, physicality.
I still think there should be, I mean, I know there isn't there, still the
I think the
opportunity
age is lowered though, right?
to play mixed. I think there should still be that opportunity.
Yeah, I agree.
Was there any barriers for you, LJ? I mean, you were training when we was at Arsenal, the boys' academy, right?
Yeah.
Because you were, too good for the girls? Is that what it was? So you go and train with the boys? I remember this little 14-year-old tried to come and train with the first team. I won't tell them what I had to do to you, but...
Yeah, she nutmegged me on my first session.
Yeah.
There you go.
Forget that.
So there must have been challenges still then, even though you're a lot younger than us, or me anyway, the challenges in terms of trying to get that competitive football at...
Just the age gaps as well. I think that at one point there was under 17s, and then the year after that it went back to under 16 football.
Yeah.
And I was still too young, so I couldn't go up. I had to go back an age group, and then, which obviously
held you back.
It can help. Yeah, it held me back a year, and then I had the opportunity to go train with the boys.
Not a bad opportunity.
Yeah.
How was that? Because obviously now you're talking. Obviously, when you look at the women's game in terms of academy girls and boys, they're pretty much full time, and the girls at the time when you was at Arsenal, what was it, Centre of Excellence or RTC at the time, twice a week training. So what was the difference in training with the girls twice a week compared to the boys of the same age?
It's just a lot quicker and more physical and more technical, I'd say. But obviously it helped and it was fun. I think the first 2 or 3 sessions, they were like, "What, a girl?" And then after that, them up. I think they realised that I can play.
Cool. So then, who were the biggest influences in both of your careers, say from a really early age, or role models that you looked up to or helped you push you into football?
My mum definitely pushed me into mine. When I was 6, I had a lot of energy. My mum took me just to our local session. Then that's where kind of my football and my enjoyment and love for the game began. So I guess her and my dad obviously taking me everywhere after that. He got the short straw, having to do all the driving and stuff after that. And then I'd probably say Mick Mulhern, you might remember him. He was my first senior manager at Sunderland, picked me up from Centre of Excellence football, asked me if I wanted to come and play for the senior team, and it was actually, like you just said, it was going to under 17s the year I could leave, so actually technically I could stay at Centre of Excellence another year or go to senior. And obviously at the time I was like, I'm enjoying myself here, and nearly stayed. And he actually said, "Do you know what, come and see if you like it or not." And obviously I went there, and obviously I started my senior career probably a year earlier than I maybe would have if he hadn't pushed me to go into that. And then did all right at Sunderland for a little bit and ended up at Arsenal. So
didn't do too bad. So
Not
parents
too bad.
parents and coaches for you that kind of led the way. What about you, LJ?
Brothers.
I was going to say, brother. You got a famous brother? No, you don't. You don't. Don't tell me about him.
Yeah, no, it was just.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you lot are like close in age as well. Like, what is it?
2 years.
2 years. Yeah, I was going to say a couple of years.
So I was always just playing with them, and then always
and
going
dad,
to
man,
their
dad's a massive influence. Surely, it's got to be.
Yeah, for sure. He was always coaching us on the
football
sidelines.
crazy.
Until 2 years ago.
Still doing it. I only saw him the other day.
He's played a massive part in helping us and guiding us, and I don't think without my brothers I'd probably, if you're surrounded by it, it's kind of what you go into. So they've been massive in that. And then because me and Reese are close in age, we was actually playing in the same team in tournaments and stuff, so
was you the better player?
it was alright. He was a striker then, so
really?
yeah.
That's a spot position.
Yeah, interesting. Right, we've got some fans' questions. The first question, this is actually a funny one. The first impressions you both had of each other. So when you met in, like, well, I'm guessing it was...
We were at Arsenal
together?
Yeah.
So what was your first impression? This young kid coming through trying to take your place?
She was a different position then, actually.
Yeah.
No, I'm
coming
joking.
from my... She was coming for yours, wasn't she?
Not for me, mate.
I actually thought you were quite quiet, but you did your talking on the pitch. That's what my impression was. Like, she was tidy, like, didn't care who she was playing against. Just did you.
I would have said you're bubbly, yeah. Bubbly on the pitch as well.
Bubbly everywhere.
Basically.
You know when Beth's around, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
You're not wrong.
Did you ever dream the women's game could be as big as it is when you were growing up?
For me, probably not, because my dream was to just go professional.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a possibility when I first started playing. So obviously seeing where it is now, I probably would never have expected it. I wanted it to, but I didn't expect it to get to the level it has now. So yeah, it's quite nice that it's overcome what I probably expected from it.
Yeah, I didn't really think that far ahead. I kind of just played.
This girl just played. Yeah,
She doesn't even know what she's having for tea tonight.
She thought she was going to play for Arsenal Boys Academy, yeah. You didn't think...
No,
you didn't dream of being a professional? You didn't just
Yeah,
want to
but
play?
I never looked that far into the future. I kind of just wanted
The
to keep
future was
playing.
only yesterday. When was you born? Surely it was closer for you in terms of that kind of dream of it being professional, having seen
Yeah,
the game
well, I mean,
transition.
still like, 6 years ago, it wasn't even on telly. It's like you still have to go to stadiums.
Not a bad thing. Go and watch you live.
True.
Funniest thing you've experienced in England camp? It's whatever, man.
Jill.
It's just Jill.
My funniest one with Jill was the Euros when we were there, and we had 10 days of the Euros left. We had the quarters, semis and final to play if we obviously got through. And Serena got us out maybe outside the hotel, just outside where we had a coffee area, and was like, I need you all to come down. And it was like 10 o'clock at night. We were like, oh no, what's happening? Jill was adamant Adele was coming to sing for us. Adamant. So we got out, Serena stood there, and Jill was like, she's going to come in a second, wait. And we were like, right, okay. Serena was like, just to let you know, we've got a COVID case in the camp. We're not going to let you see your families anymore for the rest of the tournament.
So
Jill,
no Adele.
and then we were all like, right then.
Did Jill sing some Adele songs for you?
We went to walk away, Jill went, she's still coming. I said, Jill, Adele is not coming right now, I'm telling you.
Wishful
honestly.
thinking. Right, last question. You're both playing in a front three. So who would your dream front three be?
Bunny.
Bunny.
Oh, you want to do you two plus Bunny?
Yeah.
Out of all of the women's game?
Backing ourselves.
Okay. There you go, you two and Bunny. What side are you playing?
I might get in trouble coming
Left.
up.
Because don't you both play off the right?
No,
you're gonna
you
play off
can
the
go
left?
right, I'll go left.
Oh, you're going to
There
go
you
left?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
She's good. We're good when we do that sometimes for England, actually. She's good at assisting me for the right side.
From the right to left. You don't like him?
Skip everyone out, don't we?
Bunny Shaw.
What about Viv?
Isn't it? Viv, man.
True.
Viv and Bunny are going to be naughty
Bunny's
this
a
year.
unit in the
worried
box
for you
though.
lot. Yeah, she is. Cool. Guys, thanks for your time. I've got
Thanks
pins and
for
needles in my
having
foot. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thanks for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back every week throughout the WSL season, so tell your mates and all get involved. If you've got a point you think we should discuss, or you want to put us on the spot with a question you want answering, comment down below on this episode or on our social media channels. Make sure you leave us a review and follow Boots, Balls and Bras to never miss an episode.